Hello, hello, and welcome to Brazen. I'm so grateful that you're here, and I am really fucking excited to talk about today's topic because this is a topic that you feel all the time. This is a topic that you probably feel, I don't know, at least once a week, once a month, once a day. This is a topic that I know I feel. I actually just had an experience with this topic in this last week. This is a topic that all human beings feel, especially women who are following their dreams or are focused on self improvement, self discovery, maybe rediscovery, self healing. This is a topic that those of us who go for more in life very much feel. And this is a topic that we need to discuss. And it was so blatantly obvious to me, I don't know, like 2 to 3 weeks ago, we'll say 2 weeks ago. I was having nonstop conversations with clients about this. Not just my usual clients, my usual roster, but new clients coming in telling me that this topic is what was keeping them stuck. What was it was what was keeping them from moving forward. It was what was keeping them from finally feeling balanced internally, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually. And then when I had an experience with this over the course of the last week, I was like, okay, it's time to talk about it. So I'm going to say something right now. And I want you to let this soak into your fucking body, into your system. Taking care of yourself is not selfish. Going after your dreams is not selfish. Those who think it is, you don't have to live up to their expectations. Those who think it is, you don't have to listen to their words and take them as truth. Those who think it is probably aren't going after more, probably aren't doing the self discovery, self healing work. Not that it's black or white, not that you have to do it in order to live your life. Absolutely not. But there's an understanding. When you go into this type of work, when you go after bigger dreams, you have to understand that not everybody is going to understand that. Doing this work, becoming a better version of yourself, going after, again, huge dreams, big goals, doing the really deep self healing, self discovery work. This shit is not selfish. There's a quote that I want to read you. And then we're going to dive into some research studies because I think it's necessary to bring some numbers into this topic so that way we can really understand how much this impacts all of us. So there's this quote: putting yourself first is not selfish, quite the opposite. You must put your happiness and your health first before you can be of any help to anyone else. I know a lot of people who have a belief system, a deep belief system, that being so devoted to others makes them a better person. That putting everyone else's care and caring for others and taking care of others and pleasing others makes them a better person somehow. Now, each their own, everybody gets to have their own beliefs. Most of the people that are in my little community on this earth, all of us that come together, whether it's for, again, self discovery, self improvement, healing, reaching goals, all of this, we understand that there's a balance. You have to be able to care for yourself before you can truly care for someone else. And if your only barometer in life, or one of the main ones in life, that tells you if you're a good person is if you are putting others before yourself all the time, that barometer and the way you measure that will likely leave you feeling depleted. And then what? You can't pour from an empty cup. A really great real life example of this is the alarming amount of women that come to me who are mothers and who have completely lost themselves in motherhood. Because, yeah, put your children first, but also you. It doesn't have to be so fucking black and white. It's this black and white way of thinking that creates so much unnecessary suffering. You can put yourself first and your kids. Do you know how many women that come to work with me as mothers feel as though they've lost themselves? Completely lost who they are. They have no fucking idea who they are. They're no longer they're no longer connected with their body. They're no longer in a space where they want to reconnect with their body. They feel like a floating fucking head. They don't feel good in their clothes. They don't feel good in their mind. They have no hobbies other than their children. What happens when those children move away then? What happens when you raise the children to do what they're going to do, which is to become adults for themselves and to move forward in life? What happens then? Do you start from scratch? Or do you find a really healthy, personalized balance of taking care of yourself while you take care of your children? Because it's very possible. I help women do it all the fucking time. Let's move into a different category of life. What about the women that come to me who lost themselves in a marriage? Usually this happens after divorce because they got so fucking fed up with so many things. And now it's never just one person's fault. It's never really anyone's fault. Marriages, relationships fall apart because that's the nature of the beast sometimes. Sometimes we get into relationships that are not the best for us. And actually, if you look at the science-based proof, we are usually, actually, I think Dr. Tara Swart just finally came out with a full-bodied research on this. We actually are attracted to people based off of the unhealed versions of ourselves. So if you ever felt like you had a type, you probably did. Yeah. So what happens when you grow? You grow as a human, you heal as a human, you become better than you've been, and your partner doesn't. But you've poured everything. Like I said, there's people I know who are like, I am devoted to this person, which I'm devoted to Trav, but also I know that I'm whole and he's whole. And together we make something incredible. He's not a missing piece that I lack, and I'm not a missing piece that he lacks. We don't lack anything. But what can happen, and I've lived this, is you become so fucking invested in, I have to make this person as happy as possible. That's not, in my opinion, healthy. And I've lived it, like I said. Because then what happens when you recognize that you are pouring and pouring and pouring and pouring, and you're never being poured into, or you're not being poured into the way you actually want? You're not speaking up, you're people pleasing, you're just saying it's all gravy and good when it's not. What happens when you recognize that you have completely lost yourself inside of a marriage? Now, I will tell you from my experience, especially in my community, not the community that I'm talking about with you, but the community that I grew up in, the family systems I grew up in. It's, oh no, you put everybody before yourself, and that's the thing that makes you a good person. You just grit your teeth and you deal with it, and you just are frustrated your whole life. But because you put somebody else before yourself, that makes you a good person. I think that's bullshit. I think that's total bullshit, personally. I think there's a balance that we can all find. It's really wild how, especially as women, not so much as men, not so much men, but especially women, if we choose to better ourselves, we're difficult, we're selfish, we're putting ourselves above everybody else. That's the perspective that others can have. Instead of understanding what's really going on, there's immediate judgment, skewed perspectives. I had a very interesting interaction with this, like I said, this past week. So many different angles happened. And a family member actually ended up talking to me about it. And they said, Heather, a lot of people don't understand what you do. And when they get to understand it, they realize what's actually happening and how you actually help people. But if you don't understand what you do, then sometimes people will judge it or be scared of it. It was wild. It was a wild conversation to have because that's something I know as a woman who does this work and has been seen and told. I've been told multiple times by just a few people hold this perspective that I'm selfish, putting myself first, for going after my dreams, for putting myself out there, for choosing to teach others in the way that I'm able and I want to teach others, to live my life, this one life I have. All these things I've been told by these very few amount of people, I'm selfish. But there's a larger group. And this is what I bring to the table whenever I work with a client, or like recently, I've had a lot of clients come to me saying this is their block. I ask them, who's the small group of people that call you selfish? Who are they? Would you switch lives with them? Look at the grand scheme here. Look at the big picture. Look at all the people that actually understand what you're doing instead of just assuming. Look at the people who understand the process that you're going through instead of just assuming. Look at the people who actually know you. What do they feel and think? Not that their opinions need to be higher on the list than your own of yourself, but what do they think? Because there's always like a little small group. There's always a little small group of people who don't find that balance of taking care of themselves and taking care of others. And when anyone does take care of themselves, there's judgment. There's, oh, that person's selfish, specifically women, because as women, we're supposed to be the caregivers, right? We're supposed to take care of everybody, put everybody before ourselves, and blah, 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 bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. Instead of teaching women that they can have both, they can have it all, truly. So, if you've been dealing with this, which if you listen to this podcast, if we've ever worked together, if you, and not even just me, if you've worked with anyone, a therapist, a counselor, fucking shamanic healer, energy worker, anybody, if you've worked with anybody ever, you understand what I'm talking about. You understand how difficult it is to step out of this weird, sticky old way of living and say, no, it's not selfish to take care of myself. What the fuck? What in the actual fuck? And that's what I want you to pay attention to. If you have been feeling this way, which it's very clear to me now, having, again, all the clients have conversations with me and then having myself have this experience, I'm like, yes, it is time to have this conversation. It's happening. It's all around us. If you're feeling this way, again, I want you to look at the small group of people who are misunderstanding, assuming, judging, don't know you, don't understand. First of all, why does their opinion matter? Does it really, like, honestly, does it really matter? Or is it hurting your feelings? Because it can hurt your feelings, but that doesn't mean that it has to matter. And number two, would you switch lives with them? The way that they choose to live their life, is that something you would choose? Probably not. Probably not. Let them do them. You do you, I do me, then we're cool, right? But don't take the way that they think that you should be living your life and apply it to yourself. You don't have to live the way somebody else thinks you need to live. So let me talk to you about some statistics and some research studies, because this is wild. This is something, especially if you are, I mean, all the women that come to work with me are highly intelligent women. Every single woman. I have women that come to work with me that are at the highest end of careers. We'll say that. I have women who come to work with me who are stay-at-home moms. I have women to come to work with me who are just very wealthy and don't fucking have to work. I have all different areas of women. And all of us have this conversation of why do I feel like I have to put fucking every single person before myself? That's not fucking healthy. Why does society, why does my family, why does my community push this, pressure this? Well, first off, we have to take accountability as women and say, no. And you can call it boundaries, you can call it whatever the fuck you want to call it. But at the end of the day, it's you drawing a line in the sand saying, you're not going to be in control of my life like that. No thanks. So I'm going to talk to you about a few studies that were done in 2000. And then I'm going to talk to you about a few studies that have been done over the last year and a half. And I'm picking these two times because I think it's really important to see these numbers side by side because it's almost a 30-year difference. I know, don't shit yourself because when I think of the year 2000, I'm like, oh, that was just a few years ago. No, it's not. It's 30 years ago almost. But I want you to see there have been some changes, specifically women, and a lot of good has come from these changes, especially when it comes to our mental health, our physical health, our emotional health. So, okay. 2000, let's start in 2000. So in 2000, there were studies and research studies that found 80% of humans, specifically women, admitted that doing something nurturing for themselves would help their mental health. It would help their well-being and their ability to care for others and their overall relaxation. And we're not just talking about like relaxing by the pool. We're talking about nervous system fucking regulation here. We're talking about the ability to not be tight asshole, wound up, heart racing, not in good health. 80% of women admitted that they knew that just doing something small for themselves would improve that. Yet, only an alarming 1/3 of those women were willing to spend 30 minutes or less in self-care behaviors. Willing. 1/3 were willing to spend 30 minutes or less. You want to know why? Shame and guilt. Not because they actually thought that it was something to be shameful or something to feel guilty about, but because they did not want others to see them in a certain light. That was the shame and guilt. Can you imagine? Just imagine with me. Just imagine. I want you to imagine a mom. Let's talk about a mom. A mom who has two kids and they're both in sports and they are both in different academic activities and or let's say they're younger, they're learning how to walk, they're learning how to ride their bike, they're learning, it's the very formative years, the ages 1 through 7. Let's say that this is the case, either or, you choose, and that mother comes to you and says, I really just would love to take a fucking hot shower, a long hot shower, and just wash my hair and just take a few deep breaths and listen to music and light a candle. Would you call a woman selfish? Probably not, because you're listening to this podcast and you're not that type of person. That's how these women felt. And not just the feeling, it is the societal pressure from society, community, and their families, especially their families. Wild. Okay, another survey here, or I guess not a survey, a research study. 76% of American women, this is 2000 as well, spend up to 10 hours daily. Before I even finish this, I'm not talking about work here. I am not talking about work, like 9 to 5 or whatever the fuck your hours are. What I'm about to say does not have anything to do with work. 76% of American women spend up to 10 hours daily caring for partners, husbands, children, and family. 10 hours. And these are the women who felt as though their loved ones would see them as selfish, shameful, or put guilt on them for taking 30 minutes for themselves. 76% of women. That's 10 hours a day of taking care of people. And 19% on top of that, of those women spent more than 10 hours taking care of others. So I had a conversation with a woman about 2 years ago. This woman was a caregiver. She had cared for her children. She had cared for her parents. She had cared for everyone her whole life. That's what she had been doing. She was also real deep into people pleasing tendencies. She had an idea, a belief system that if she didn't take care of everybody all the time, all around her, and make everything always as perfect as it can be, that everything would fall apart. Nobody would love her anymore. People would abandon her, all of these things, right? All the people pleasing tendencies, all the self sabotage. And so when we were talking about this, I asked her, what would happen if you just took 1 hour a day to take care of yourself? Her response was that no one would love her. If she took 1 hour a day, let's say an hour before bed, if she took an hour before bed, and we're not saying it's black and white because as we know, fucking what? That's not life. Life is gray. I had talked to her about because she's like, well, I have to have my phone. I have to, because what if somebody calls me? That is the most, it drives me banana sandwich when people, this phone culture, people call me all the time and then they get frustrated when I don't answer. I'm doing something else. Yep. I'm doing something else of importance. So I'm not going to answer my phone. And I talked to her, I'm like, why can't those people leave you a message? Well, what if something's really wrong? What if, okay, turn the people pleasing down. What if they're a grown adult and they can take care of it? And you don't have to be at everyone's beck and call. You don't have to have your phone on loud and answer every call. What? No. Holy shit. So I told her, I'm like, okay, let's have a balance here. You can have your phone on you, but the only time you're going to answer it is for her grown children. Her children were grown. They were in high school and out of high school. That's the only time that you're going to answer the phone is if your grown children call. In 1 hour, for fuck's sake, right? She was with me on this. She's like, I can do it. I can do fucking 1 hour for fuck's sake. I can do this. First 2 days, 3 days, I don't know. We'll say the first 5 days, the first full work week, because I don't really remember exactly, but we'll say the first full work week. It was rough for her. It was so rough. She felt like she had to answer every single text message that came through. She had to answer everybody's phone call, and none of them were important. But she had it in her head. I have to, I have to. And I've been there. And then I abruptly said, fuck that. Fuck that. I am not at any, no. The only person I'm going to answer the phone call for every time it rings is Travis. That's it. And even for him, sometimes I'm like, I'm working. So is this an emergency? That whole, again, we're just going to say work week because I don't really know how long it was, but it was so hard for her. And then we move into the second piece of this. We're going to say, for sake of not knowing the exact dates, it was the next week. She kept it up. She kept taking 1 hour a day. Sometimes it wasn't even a full hour. Sometimes it was like 30 minutes in the morning, 30 minutes at night. Okay. It was just like however she could fit the hour in. She started only answering her children's phone calls for 1 hour a fucking day. Okay. Her daughter realized that there was something going on, right? Her mom, my client hadn't said anything. So she asked her mom, she was like, what's going on? Like, what are you doing? Because she knew she was working with a coach. She knew her mom wanted to better her life and feel better and be better and all of these things, right? So she's like, what's going on? And she shared with her daughter, she was like, I'm trying to figure out how to have better boundaries in life so I can feel better. So I'm not people pleasing all the time. So I don't feel so fucking selfish of just taking care of myself. Her daughter told her, thank God. Her grown daughter, who had just graduated from high school, told her, I have been waiting years for you to take care of yourself. Her daughter also told her at that point, My client, her mother's lack of taking care of herself had created a really twisted point of view for that young woman. That young woman was facing internal conflict of, do I have to take care of everybody before myself in order to be seen as a quote unquote good person? Her daughter was facing what all women face, though. Why can't I just do both? Why do I have to put everybody before myself? Why can't I be first and there? Why can't I have a balance? And her mother, my client, having this conversation with her and living these values not only changed their relationship, but changed everything for her daughter. It is so fucking important that we do not teach anyone, let alone women, that the only way you're a good person is if you put everybody else before yourself. Because that's not true. Is it true that part of being a good person is caring for others? Yeah, for sure. It's not the only fucking thing. And then when you have that black and white way of thinking, then again, this is where that stigma comes from of, well, if you don't do that, then you're selfish. If you do self-care, you're selfish. Wild. Okay, next, this is the last piece of this research study. This is about moms. I would say about half of the women I work with are mothers, maybe even more. Probably closer to 70%, honestly. Because I'm thinking about like a few that at first I was like, oh, they don't have kids. Yes, they do. They have grown kids though. 81%. Holy shit. 81% of mothers feel selfish to take an hour or less off just to take care of themselves. A week. An hour a week. Right? Okay, so let me tell you another little story about a client. I had a client who had a baby. And then after that baby was born, she didn't intend to have another baby. After that baby was born, I think he was like maybe almost a year and a half. Like I feel like 18 months is like the area that we're looking right now. So when that little baby boy was about a year and a half, she was like, you know what? I think I want to have another baby, or her and her partner. I think we want to have another baby. We want to have two. So she had another baby. Now, her and I had worked together off and on. It's one of the ways that she got pregnant the second time because she was having difficulties, and we did a lot of work to help her have a healthier pregnancy. That second baby was born. I didn't hear from her. Like most clients, she's like, hey, I'm good for now. I'll talk to you again when I would like some more support. See you later. High five. Wishing you the best. Love, love, love. Right. So I hadn't spoke to her. Like 9 months to a year. It'd been a while. Baby had been born. Baby was a few months old. She comes back to me. She sends me a message and she's like, Heather, I feel awful. Now, when she told me that, I took a step back because she is not the type of woman, not through the work that we had done. So we had a really deep conversation. She didn't just feel awful in her body, which was one of the biggest pieces of what she was telling me. She's like, I don't know whose body this is. I don't feel good in my body. I don't feel healthy in my body. I don't feel connected to my body. And she told me point blank something that I feel like most women can fucking relate to. She's like, I pretend that I like my body, but deep down, I really don't. Ooh, if that's not fucking relatable. So it wasn't just that where she felt awful, though. She felt awful. Her mental health was spiraling. Her emotional health also spiraling. When she came to me and she said that, one of my first questions to her was, have you been taking care of yourself? And her answer, not exact, I don't remember exact, but her answer was, no, I've been taking care of everyone else. Makes sense, right? Makes sense because she had kids. But does it make sense though? Because she has a partner. Does it make sense though? Because she can be doing both. Does it make sense though? Because that's not the fucking prerequisite to have children. Now, I've been told by a few people in my life. Well, Heather, you wouldn't know. You've never given birth. To that, I say, fuck that. I am an intelligent human being and I can see. It's not black or white. Nothing in life is at all. And every single time I help a woman find her own personal balance, especially in motherhood, not only does she thrive, but her fucking children thrive. One of the women recently that I started working with, her child wasn't reading, not at the level he should have been. Well, two, the little girl and the little boy. She started taking care of herself so she could show up as a mother in a new, different way, both children reading. Because your children can feel you. Your behaviors, your words, they soak it up like a sponge. So this client, when I asked her, okay, can you commit to this many days a week, 1 hour per day? It ended up, I'm pretty sure it was like 3 times a week. So 3 hours a week total. And this includes the weekends. I was like, can you just commit to that? Do that for 3 weeks. We're talking go for a jog, go for a run, go to the gym. We're talking go get a facial, go get a massage, go get coffee with a friend. We're talking go get in the sun. We're talking go do a hobby. Something to fucking connect with yourself so you can show up without feeling awful. Her answer was, I'll feel so guilty. I'll feel so guilty. Now, of course, we went into it deep. I don't remember the entire conversation, but I do remember that she felt really guilty because she didn't want her family members to see her doing things for herself when she had 2 kids. What? Fucking, who are your family members? Who are these people? Who are the people that love you that would make you feel guilty for taking care of yourself as a mom? Who are they? Give me their phone numbers. Let me fucking talk to them. What? Okay. 2025 surveys, and then I'm going to give you exact steps on what to do, very simple steps on what to do if you have any situation in your life where you're feeling guilty for anything, if you're feeling selfish for taking care of yourself. And maybe you're not a mom. Maybe you don't have children. Maybe your children are grown. Whatever it is, it doesn't really matter. You don't have to not have children or have children in order to be able to take care of yourself. That's another stupid fucking stigma. Okay, so let's talk about the 2025 studies and research. 2025 research, a significant portion of women experience extreme stress. This was over 70%, an extreme amount of stress, and some are taking extreme measures to alleviate it. Now, I'm all for medication when medication is the thing that fits us best, when it will help us to the root. Go do your research today. And maybe you don't even have to do research. I have a bug bite that keeps itching. Maybe you don't even have to do research. Maybe you just can see it with your own eyes. How many women are taking medications when they don't want to alleviate stress because they feel guilty taking time out of their week to do the things that would alleviate the stress. Therefore, they wouldn't need the medication they don't want. You know? Yeah. 63% of US women find it challenging to prioritize their own well-being and health. Over 50% of women feel shame or guilt when considering self-care because they're scared of being seen as selfish. They believe that prioritizing caregiving to others is a societal pressure over their well-being. So I stand against this. Fuck every bit of this. Every woman I speak to, every woman I work with, one of the main areas that we focus on is self-care, self-nurturing, taking care of yourself, finding a personal balance between taking care of yourself and taking care of whoever else you need to take care of. Partners, husbands, wives, children, family, doesn't matter. Great example. This past week, I had to go back to my hometown. Had to, I wanted to. I went back to my hometown and I took care of my grandmother. And when she slept, I worked. Sometimes you have to find a personal balance in order to take care of your loved ones. Yeah, you do. But it does not mean that you put yourself on the back burner. I went to the gym as often as possible. Whenever there was somebody else sitting there with her, I went and worked out. I went and took a walk. I was eating all of my protein. I was doing journaling. I was meditating. I was doing breath work. I was finding little spots and pockets where I could take care of myself because I was sleeping on a couch that wasn't comfortable and I was barely getting sleep for a week. You have to take care of yourself before you can take care of others. You cannot pour from a fucking empty cup. And if people are pouring into you, but it's not real and genuine, that doesn't count. Okay. Here are some things that I want you to know will benefit you when you choose to work self-care, self-nurturing, self-improvement, whatever word you want to say, into your routines, daily, weekly, whatever. Number one, obviously, you're going to have way less any of the mental health challenges. And right now in America, it's between 1 in 4 and 1 in 5 people, human beings, have mental health challenges right now. And one of the quickest ways to start to alleviate that is to take care of yourself mentally. Another thing is you're going to have higher levels of life satisfaction. Duh, fucking duh. My life has felt so much more satisfied. I feel so much more satisfied in my life. I guess that's a better way to say that. Especially ever since I moved away, without a doubt. Moving away changed my life for the better. I would never move back to my hometown, ever. It would have to be pretty extreme circumstances for me to move back there because moving away, getting out of a certain way of thinking that was like a little bubble that everybody lived in, that was the best thing I could have done for myself. Absolutely. And even now, I'm only like 2.5 hours away. Close, but not too close. I'm not in this bubble dynamic anymore. Best thing I've ever done. Way more satisfied. And now you don't have to move away in order to have that happen. But I wanted to. So I always tell people, if you have a deep desire to see the world, to experience newness, to travel, to explore, to have adventure, if you have a fucking feeling inside that the mountains are calling or the ocean is calling and that's who you are in your heart, go. Fucking go. You only get one life. What the fuck? Don't you stay in that small town not seeing anything when your heart is aching to see it all. And added bonus, you're probably going to feel much more satisfied in your life when you no longer are in the environment and the ways of thinking that don't match who you are. Trust me on that one. Number 2 thing that's going to happen, or I guess number 3 thing that's going to happen when you incorporate more self-care is reduced anxiety and stress. Now, I had a conversation with another family another family member about this past week. Self-care does not mean, and now I've been there, okay? I'm preaching to the choir that I was in. Self-care doesn't mean going out for a drink. Self-care, no, I'm all for tacos and marks, but that's not fucking self-care. You can't be like, oh yeah, I had drinks 5 times this week. That's self-care. Fuck it is. Get off that wagon because we both know it's bullshit. Self-care does not mean going out all the time with friends. However, that is important. There's a personal balance here. Self-care, you might need to practice things that you've never practiced before, like I had to, like most humans have to. If you keep doing the same shit, you're going to keep getting the same results, you know? Self-care also improves your physical health, of course. And we're not just talking about like physical fitness, and we're not just talking about the way you feel in your body. We're talking about the way your body actually works, your organs, your body itself. If you have more self-care in your practices, You are probably, I would say, I'm not a fucking doctor. We all know that, but I would guess that your lifespan is going to be more improved and longer if you actually take care of yourself. And the last one that I just wrote down because I wanted to bring it up is you're going to have a better work-life balance. Holy shit. If you could be present for some of the conversations that happen in my family, my whole life, it's been a badge of honor to work your life away. A lot of hard working motherfuckers in my family, and that's for damn sure. A lot of different types of people, farmers, blue collar workers, everything. But it's a badge of honor to work your life away. I used to wear that badge of honor. And then I realized that you don't get a prize or a trophy at the end of your life for suffering. Nobody gives you that. Nope, that's all self inflicted shit. And when I stopped doing that, I started making more money. And then I was able to enjoy my life more. Wild. I know, right? Okay, so let me tell you some different things that I would love for you to use as tools from your toolbox if you are feeling that self care is selfish and this stigma bullshitness that happens when we try to take care of ourselves. So, first things first is this is really all, I mean, like I said, it's to no longer live through these expectations and just expectations of others. So that way you can live more as yourself and be more authentic. There's also this thing that happens with these pressures that are put on women where it's like, oh, that's your role. You're a woman, so that's your role. This is what you're meant to do. And those are the women that live that way or that have been pressured to live that way are the exact women that come to work with me and they're like, I'm so fucking done with people telling me what I'm supposed to do and that this is how I'm supposed to live and I'm supposed to like that's exactly that type of woman that comes to work with me. So this is a great way to not reach your fucking boiling point and instead make the changes now. So, first things first is maybe just do some guided self awareness rituals. So, self awareness and understanding who you are and how you tick and why you tick and all these things is going to be really helpful. I would recommend mirror work. That's one thing that I recommend to all clients. And if you don't know what mirror work really is, if you just have an idea in your head or assumption, I guarantee you, you have no idea what it really, truly, deeply is because I didn't have any idea what it really, truly, deeply was. So please send me a message and I will explain mirror work to you. And once you do it in a new way, you're going to be like, holy fuck, I didn't know that this was even something I could do. It's so simple, it's free, and it changes everything. So, a question you could use with a self awareness mirror work would be something like, when did I last feel guilty for taking time for myself? Yeah, that'll bring shit up. Of course, a tool in your toolbox here is setting boundaries. Now, there's boundaries for others, there's boundaries with yourself, and there's the way that you respect other people's boundaries. Boundaries are full circle. I am a big believer in boundaries. I think they're really important. I also understand that there are generations before us that don't know what boundaries are, and they're never really going to understand what boundaries are because this is something they weren't taught. Actually, the older generations were taught the exact opposite, right? They were taught people pleasing, they were taught obedience over living authentically and finding personal balance and harmony. Like they were taught you obey and there's no lines that can't be crossed and you just shove shit under rugs and you make everybody happy type of thing. I get that. So there's going to have to be some lenience here. I also believe that with boundaries, it's really important that you're not creating boundaries to the point where you lose connection with others. I've lost a lot of connection with others, but it's connection I didn't want to begin with, and I don't want now. And I think that's a really important piece to the boundaries puzzle is doing relationship audits and asking yourself if you even want a relationship with that person. There's certain family members, just because I'm your family member doesn't mean I want a relationship with you. So there's just looking at that and being clear if you even want to have those relationships and what those boundaries look like. Again, if you don't know where to start, just reach out and let me know. And then the last piece is just reflective journaling. So this is a lot like the mirror work. Again, I would love to explain it to you if you'd like to know more. Reflective journaling is just going to be an easier practice. It's a little bit softer. And you could answer a simple question like, whose voices call me selfish? Which voices do I have repeating in my head telling me that I'm selfish? And whose expectations am I carrying? This is going to help you separate how you really feel about yourself, your life, self awareness versus the expectations, judgments, opinions of others. Because everybody has an opinion and you don't have to let it affect you. Their opinion of you doesn't need to hold any fucking type of weight, right? So, really getting into these is going to be important. And then, of course, just choosing self care over the fear of looking selfish. Take a fucking bath every now and then. Go take a course to better yourself. Work with a fucking coach or a mentor or a therapist or a counselor or a healer or somebody. Do what you want to do for your own well being. And with all of the respect that's due, fuck what everybody else thinks. You know, it's not their life. So, big topic, huge topic, actually. One of the biggest ones that comes up with every client. And my gosh, has it been present the last few weeks. So this isn't easy. It's not easy to put yourself at the top with others. It's not easy to choose to better yourself while you pour into others at the same time. It's not easy to find that personal balance. It's not easy to have I don't even know. It's not easy to have someone else set the expectations for you and then feel as though you miss those expectations for someone else, even though there's no need for them to give you the expectations, nor for you to feel like you have to live up to those expectations. That's hard. It's very difficult. So, as you do this work, give yourself a lot of grace and compassion, give others a lot of grace and compassion. Hold, hold the line when you need to hold the line. Remember, I've seen it in many places, bumper stickers and beyond. Do no harm, but take no shit. Okay? There's a really beautiful line that you can draw in the sand there. And one last time, I'm going to remind you, self-care is not selfish. And anybody who makes you feel like it is or tells you that it is probably doesn't do self-care and probably doesn't understand the importance of it. And probably one day will come and work with a coach like myself because they don't feel connected to who they really are. So let them keep their opinions. You keep doing what you're doing. They can be them. You can be you. And you guys can both move forward. All right. So you know the drill. Go do something nice for yourself today. Go do something nice for others. And maybe it has to do with self-care. Maybe you go do a little extra self-care for yourself. And maybe you remind a woman in your life how important self-care is. And if she's a mom, maybe you watch her kiddos for her so she can go do it. If it's a woman who just feels like she's not allowed to, maybe you do it with her so that way she can feel supported. Okay? I love you. I hope you have an amazing day, and I'll chat with you soon.